Pete Prisco's NFL Mock Draft 6.0. It's a 6 mock drafts. Jesus, this is CBS Sports. Okay, Pete is the the tan hombre on the right. Jesus, Pete. I mean, SPF. Let's get some sunscreen going, my man. All right, let's go ahead and listen to what he has the Saints. Now, I've skipped ahead of his mock draft to the Saints pick, so let's go ahead and see what he's got for the New Orleans Saints.
Draft Monday, going through Pete Prisco's very first one here. We're picking up with the Saints at 9. This is a team that needs a lot of things. They need some excitement here. You have them taking a tight end in Tyler Warren.
Well, and again, Jaquan Johnson's back, but they need a
What do you say? Who?
And again, Jaquan Johnson's back.
Jaquan Johnson. All right, good start. So, Tyler Warren, okay, like the Jaquan Johnson signing does make this a little controversial yet brave. I do think there's a non-0% chance that Jaquan Johnson is utilized as kind of like this hybrid wide receiver tight end thing where, you know, the Saints do need a big-bodied receiver, big physical receiver. I think maybe Jaquan Johnson could be that. You know, he was a wide receiver before being a tight end, so I don't think it's insane. Kellen Moore is the kind of guy who I can see really utilizing a 2 tight end situation, or that's probably the wrong way to say it, but using them creatively. So it doesn't, like, the fact that we have Jaquan Johnson, it's not like, well, we can't have Tyler Warren now, because Tyler Warren can be used in a lot of different ways. So can Jaquan Johnson. And in today's NFL, like that mismatch kind of player is valuable. So I think it's still on the table, but dependent on who is there. Like if McMillan's there or Ashton Genty's there or, you know, a couple of the defensive players, like I think Warren, even though Tyler Warren is awesome, I think on the Saints board, he'd be a few players down.
Back, but they need a real pass-catching threat in the middle of the field to go with them, and I think Warren is a clean player. You can do a lot of things with him. You saw what Penn State did with him, did tons of stuff with him, even had him carrying under center and doing the tush-push and all that stuff. So I do think that
they already have Taysom Hill, don't they?
He's gone.
Is he really? Yeah. The gimmick is gone from New Orleans?
Yeah. But so.
I know I make a big deal about this, but this is CBS Sports. They've got a 6-person panel. Why do these guys not know what they're talking about? They think, where do they think happened to Taysom Hill? He's gone. Where? Do they know he's injured? Do they know he's on the Saints? Obviously not. But what happened to Taysom Hill? Oh, he's gone. Is he? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Anyways, here's my 6.0 mock draft. Brother, at least know who's on the roster. Like, I mean, like, and just like completely glazing over, like, oh, Taysom Hill's gone. Yeah, he's gone. Where? Maybe. Oh, anyways, why? Like, hey, maybe let's trim the amount of people on the show. And maybe let's get some people in there who actually watch the game and who knows what's going on. You don't have to do a mock draft. That's what people are going to say. Well, James, you can't expect him to cover every team. Well, I don't expect him to do a mock draft either. No one's forcing him to do a mock draft. Hey, man, instead of doing 6.0, instead of doing 6 versions of a mock draft, maybe just take a day off. Like, you don't have to. If you don't want to, don't do it. It's crazy to me. Absolutely insane. I mean, I really think these big, I mean, this is so lazy. You know, like these big sports media conglomerates just phoning it in when there's a million YouTube channels and podcasts and whatever beat writers and that you can get this information from. We'll watch the rest of this video, but I'm sick to my stomach.
So I think when you look at it, I think you could do a lot of things with him. You missed the gimmick.
You know what I worry about is that people are going to want him to be the next Brock Bowers, and Brock Bowers just had maybe the best rookie season we've seen as a tight end.
Yeah.
But I do think this is why a team might reach for him.
Well, that's a good point from Danny Cannell, where is he better than Bowers? Like, do you think he's better than Bowers? Do you think he's even comparable to Bowers? Do you think he could even be in the same world as Brock Bowers? If so, yeah, okay, top 10 picks probably worthy. If he's like if he's not Brock Bowers, then it doesn't really line up for him to be a top 10 pick. Brock Bowers, a player of that caliber, yeah. I mean, I said it last year before the draft. I said I had Brock Bowers as my number 1 wide receiver, like just a receiver. And I do think you could, and maybe in the future there will be kind of like a blend of wide receiver and tight end, because Brock Bowers probably goes top 5 if he doesn't have TE next to his name. But then you see how the Raiders use him, and it's like, well, I mean, he's a receiver. Like, he's catching 10 passes a game. Like, just because he has TE next to his name, should he be dropped 5 spots? Tyler Warren, same situation. Just look at him as a receiver. Like, is he that good? And people are going to have different grades. If you don't think he's up to Bowers, like if I could talk to Kellen Moore, and I was like, what grade would you have on Bowers? 98. Okay, well, what do you have Warren at? 93. Okay, well, he's not a top 10 player. If he's the same guy, if he's Brock Bowers 2.0, yeah, take him 9th overall.
When you watch the tape of him, it's like, where's Waldo? Like, you're trying to find where he's lined up at wide receiver, lined up at quarterback. You mentioned him under center. He actually snapped the ball at center a couple times. He was that type.
Yeah, so Penn State did we see it a lot, and Baltimore does it. The Chiefs do it, where the tight end does, like, they line up as almost like a wing back. They go into motion under center, and then they do basically the tush push. Tyler Warren was doing that at Penn State. So Tyler Warren absolutely could be a tush push candidate. Now, some people may say, well, perfect. Kellen Moore comes from the tush push land. So getting Tyler Warren, who can be the best tight end in the NFL. Oh, and he can do the tush push. Yeah, it's all fine, but kind of like what I was saying, is that enough, or is that even relevant when you're talking about the top 10? Like, yeah, at 14, 15, 16th overall, yeah, all that stuff starts to matter. But when you're in between Tyler Warren, whoever the number 1 wide receiver is on your board, whether it's Tevin McMillan or Matthew Golden, you're in between Mason Graham, you're looking at, whoever else, Ashton Genty and Omarion Hampton, you're debating between them two, you're debating between Golden and McMillan, you're doing all that. Like, there's so many players on the board, those super niche traits, like the tush push thing, like that can't matter that much. Like, can't matter that much. Just like Cam Newton. At Cam Newton, he, at some points at Auburn, he would play receiver. They would just like throw a fade route to him, and he'd go up and catch it. That's awesome. I can promise you that was not in the equation when they took him 1st overall in Carolina, right? It's like, oh yeah, he could also do these cool fade routes. It's like, all right, we're talking about the 1st overall pick. Like, we're talking about the franchise quarterback here. He needs to do a lot of other stuff really, really well before we talk about, like, the niche attributes, like being able to do a tush push.
Type of gadget player, but I do think that's what Andy Colton-Nicky did, which somebody in the NFL is going to have to do, whether it's the Saints or somebody else. Utilize him. He's an incredible athlete. He's very versatile. If somebody does that, you could have a really solid pick. Might be a little bit higher than I would expect, but it wouldn't surprise me based on the Brock Bowers kind of copycat aspect.
Let's get to.
I think Warren is closer to the 15th pick than he is to the 9th pick. Like, if this was last year's draft and the Saints had the 14th pick and the Saints could take him, perfect. Absolutely perfect. 9, it's a little rich for my blood. Let's just take a look at the rest of what Pete's got. So he's got Cam Ward going 1st overall. No surprise there. Abdul Carter going 2nd overall. Shador Sanders going 3rd overall. We got a US AAA, or USAA? Yeah, USAA, AA. Commercial going on here. So he's got Shador going 3. This seems to be a lot of smoke with this one. He's got Campbell at 4. Now, I've been screaming this since Radio Row, but I don't think Will Campbell's going to play tackle. I think he's going to play guard. Do you take a guard 4th overall? No, you don't. So this is highly dependent on where you think Will Campbell's going to play in the pros. Travis Hunter to 5. It's kind of high too, but it's Jacksonville, so they'll screw it up somehow. Ashton Genty 6 to the Raiders. I think if he's there, the question is between him and Shador Sanders at 6. But if he's there and Shador goes 3, I think Genty to the Raiders is a slam dunk. Let's see here. 7 is Mason Graham to the Jets. Okay. So Mason Graham at one point was top 5. Then he fell out of the top 10 during the combine when he didn't run. He didn't run. He had a hamstring injury. And now he's slowly making his way back into the top 10. So he is 7. Jalen Walker is 8. I've seen Jalen Walker mocked there quite a bit. Jalen Walker is awesome. He's been mocked to the Saints as well. So he's someone to look for in that 8, 9, 10 range. I haven't seen him higher. Oh, no, I did. The last, who was it? Was it Mel Kiper? Maybe Daniel Jeremiah had Jalen Walker going to the Jaguars at 5. So I've seen him once in the top 5, but mostly in that 8, 9 range. He's got Kelvin Banks Jr. going to the Bears. So he's got Kelvin Banks Jr. as the first. I guess he has Campbell as the first tackle. Mimbu, I think, is Jump Banks, but who knows? Jahdae Barron goes 11. Will Johnson, 12. Walter Nolan, 13. Tyler Booker, 14. Shamar Stewart, 15 on his. Kenneth Grant, 16. Derek Harmon, 17. Mimbu at 18. Jod Campbell at 19. That's a huge fall for him. He's been top 10 everywhere. 19. Where is Ted McMillan? Hampton, 20. Jackson Dart goes 21. Colston Loveland, 22. Monwara, 24. Matthew Golden goes 26. Damn. So he's got Matthew Golden as the first receiver off the board at 26. And then he's got McMillan going 29 to the Commanders. Wow. Okay. So there you go. That's Pete Prisco's mock draft 6.0. New Orleans Saints selecting Tyler Warren. Get on down in the comments below. Let me know what you think. I will see you in the next video.